Hello, everyone. Welcome back to What Businesses Need to Know Right Now. It's our ongoing series to interview experts, consultants, coaches, business owners who can fill in this question of what we need to know right now. I'm Nettie Owens, and today I have with me Jeffrey A. Hanson. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad I get to share these next 10 minutes with you and to share the world's share you with the world. So brief introduction here. Jeff Hanson is a family recovery coach and interventionist. He works with families that are desperate for a normal family experience, but have exhausted all of the traditional options. I can relate to this story. What's left within the home is an element of dysfunction that's simultaneously tearing apart the relationships that exist there and creating resentments. So I'm curious, how is this at all relevant to business?
Okay. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. And to answer that question, COVID has really forced these two worlds we've kept separate, which are personal and business, and have just blurred those lines and meshed them together. And it's not only impacted business owners and managers and bosses, but it's really impacted us as those who work at home. And with those blurred lines, I think a lot of people felt like there's going to be a great opportunity to work from home. Don't take that ride, right? But then all of a sudden, all these problems start coming up within the home because you're on top of each other 24/7. So that's where a lot of these behavioral issues that were maybe small before triggered into something much larger. And that's really what I've seen. And that's not going to be changing anytime soon.
Absolutely. So we've got this new dynamic of all the family members home all the time, and communication, which was shoddy at best before, is now down the tubes, impacting both work and relationships within the family, creating just like a tinderbox, basically, of opportunities for flare-ups and bad experiences. And while you've got Family A over here that's posting, the yummy brownies that were just made, you've got Family B that's kind of just struggling to get by day to day because of this dysfunction that's happening. And all these resources that were once available, I shouldn't even say all, but resources that were once available are now not accessible anymore, plus the new dynamics with teenagers and all of that kind of stuff. So talk to me a little bit about boundaries and communications and how could we even think about that as we're all living together and working together?
So I think when the pandemic first started, we thought this would be a quick thing. And then I also think that right now we're thinking that when it's over, it's going to just fade back to what we once were. But the reality is that this is a great opportunity for businesses to cut costs. So why wouldn't they keep a structure similar to this? And when I look at the reactionary environment that we were in earlier, it was kid runs through the door, get out. Mm-hmm. Well, does a kid quite understand why they're getting asked or kicked out of the room? Because they've never seen their parent work at home, possibly. And what they see is a computer, and to them, a computer is video games. So these reactionary elements then put a kid into a defensive position. And it also makes us feel like the bad guy when there really are solutions. And there's some simple ones that I'd like to just go over, which really, you have your physical boundaries, which are the doors in the house. But the doors in the house are not good enough. And the one thing that I always promote within the families I work with is putting signage on the doors and starting each day off with a family meeting, even if it's for 5 minutes, and go over what each thing means. So for example, putting a sign on the door that says in Zoom meeting, and then explaining to your child that
don't run in here naked.
Yeah, but then you give them what you would like them to do. And that's the second part of it, which is, hey, maybe there's a note under the door system, right? Maybe you have a little doggy door that they can put it through. So
oh my gosh, I'm going to have to just keep talking. I'm going to get ours because you helped me create ours, and I want to show you what this looks like. This one thing has been pretty transformational. It's a magnetic board sign on the door. And it has 3 options: live recording, like we're doing right now. The door must remain shut. I'm trying to find the camera here. I'm so sorry. And that's what we're in. You can see the magnets are all like pointing to it. If somebody comes up to the door now, they'll see it open. They'll think they can come in. It says, I will open the door when the recording is done. The next one is I'm in a meeting, that they can come in quietly and pass me a note, ask me what they want, but they're noting that the camera's on. They might get recorded. And the last one's working, so that they don't just see me not on this was a problem. They saw me not on videos and they just came in and started talking while I was in the middle of thinking. So this last one was really important. The other ones were easier. This one was unclear. So adding that, please come in, sit at the table and wait until I'm able to come to a stopping point, usually 5 minutes or less. Jeff helped us make this board. It's been transformational in our communication in the family, and really changed the feeling of like, you're never available to me, or for me, you don't want
to be the bad guy, right?
Yeah. It brought us all onto the same page. So I'm really thankful for that. But
I wanted to point out that, like, what you're saying?
Adding that piece of what can you do was the kicker. Before, we had just told them what they couldn't do.
And I want to point out how positive that looks. You see how there's like the magnets on there, there's flowers on there. And I remember when we first started with that, and look at even the outline of that. So that's welcoming. That's not saying I don't want you here. That's saying, no, this is just simply a boundary. It's like a fence with a neighbor. It's not saying I hate my neighbor. It's saying that, you know what, have a little space between each other, and space is good.
Mm-hmm. So that's an amazing tip. Something that our listeners could put into place today. Really simple. No, even let the kids have fun helping you make it colorful. So that's another thing.
Yeah, bring the kids into it.
What else? You said you had a couple tips.
Yeah, so the other part that's kind of a segue is, we often, because we have been in these separate worlds, we're not used to this blurred world. And we feel like maybe, that's all right, I forgive you.
I know, boundaries.
Boundaries. Maybe we feel like our bosses, our managers, or the person that we're selling to on the other line is going to be upset if a kid comes in and something happens, but they're in the same situation. They're in the same boat. And I think we need to welcome our family and our children into our work environment and even partake in some of these things. So, for example, if you're going to be going onto social media and you have no idea what the heck to do, how to even download the thing, bring in your child. They know how to do it.
Oh, they do.
And the look on their face, I'm sure you've seen this, how proud they are and how far they will go. They'll be your best worker possible. And bringing them into that world, maybe taking pictures of you for social media, and they get to be your little mini photographer after school. Mm-hmm. And it's like a little mini job for them. But I just remember as a kid, I always wanted to be part of my dad's world, my dad's business. And I feel like this is a great opportunity to allow that, but definitely communicate that to the person on the other side as well that you're working with, and let your boss know, or your manager know, or your prospect know. Yeah, there might be a kid coming in, and if they're young enough, they might start crying. So you might press pause for a bit. But that's part of that communication once again, right? And boundary setting even with clients. So
I think this pandemic has given us all a really great opportunity to reevaluate our boundaries and improve our communication. We don't have the luxury of just walking down the hall and explaining what's going on. We have to be really clear in our messages, what is actually going on. So last thing, what can we do to just like a quick thing that we can do to help build relationships within the family?
Well, it's taking those moments out of your day and spending time with them. And one of the most important elements that you can do, even for yourself, if someone's watching this and they're individual, myself included, is get outside. And yes, there's a report that came out that said 3 hours per day. And of course, researchers like to go to the extremes and act like we have all the time in the world, but a half hour per day. And going outside and making it a fun experience, or making it a peaceful experience. So some of the things I like to do is even bring a Bluetooth speaker, and each person gets to pick the next song in the playlist while you go for a walk. Your neighbors aren't going to be able to hear, and it brings you together, but then also it gives an opportunity maybe for the kids to go off and do their thing Well, you get to spend time with your spouse, which is the last part of this I wanted to say is if you aren't married or if you are dating, you're living together, ensure that you do have moments with your spouse. And I feel like that is something that is very important. And that way you're re-energized and you're on the same page. And if you two feel good together, that's going to exude upon the kids as well.
This has been amazing. So much good stuff in just a quick 10 minutes. People can find even more amazing content that you've been putting out on Instagram. Your handle has been up this entire time. So go check Jeffrey out at jeffrey.a.hanson on Instagram. He's got a video series, and reach out to him, connect with him. If your family has exhausted all traditional options, or if you would rather they didn't ever get down that path, give Jeff a call and he can help out.
Be proactive if you can. But you know what those traditional opportunities are. So if you've been down that road and you're exhausted, go to my Instagram, look me up online. You can find my number, I'm sure. Or hit up Nettie. She has all my information as well.
I'm happy to hand it out. All right. Take care, everyone, and see you next time.
I appreciate it, Nettie. And enjoy the rest of your day.